Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Rita Madam, hearty welcome.
Oh, thank you. Good evening.
I'm Sumam from the Rajas International School, Kottayam, hosting the event Pearls at TRIS. Honorable guest, Ms. Rita Prasad, founder principal of the Pentecostal Assembly School, Bokaro. Mr. Anil, secretary to Grama Panchayat, Kurichy. Respected CEO, Kurichy sir. Professor Subramanian, Dean of Rajas College, Ms. Malarvidi, Principal of the Rajas International School, Nagarkoil, Mr. Tito, Principal of Syrian Jacobite Public School, Tiruvalla, Johnson, Principal of Rajas International School, Kottayam, and dear teachers, very good afternoon. Learning is like rowing upstream. Not to advance is to drop back, says an ancient proverb. Today, when we gather here for the empowerment of the educators, this dictum is all the more relevant. We, the educators, row upstream. The moment we stop, we drop. When we stop learning, we get outdated and branded ignoramus by the peers and the learners, which we cannot afford. We launch Pearls at TRIS Educators Empowerment Program. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this beautiful program, Pearls at TRIS. May I now request Mr. Johnson P.V., Principal of the Rajas International Kottayam, to this and to address or introduce our guest to our esteemed audience. Please, sir.
Honorable Inaugurator of Pearls at TRIS, Mr. Anil, Secretary to Kurichy Grama Panchayat, Honorable Guest of Honor, Ms. Rita Prasad, our CEO Kurichy sir, Professor Subramanian, Mr. Tito, Principal of TRIS Tiruvalla, Ms. Malavidi, Principal of TRIS Nagarkoil, and special invitees, my dear respected teachers. Good afternoon. Today we have got a wonderful day. Before this also we have but for coffee at TRIS. Coffee at TRIS is a student empowerment program which started in 2014 along with the inception of the school, but to new heights with the help of our CEO P.O sir. And as everybody knows it, our first session was chaired by Mr. Sabu sir, Vice Chancellor of Gandhi University, then entrepreneur, Mr. Deepak Marcos, then Rena Subramanian, then finally this month we had Mr. Subramanian himself, our Chief Economic Advisor to the Prime Minister. Today, teacher empowerment. When When a health worker is not good at his work, some people will suffer. When an engineer is not very good at some people will suffer. But when a teacher is not at his or her work, coming generations are affected. They are doing such an important service. I don't know whether we are really aware of the depth of the service that we are rendering. We can confess and distract many lives. We can feel or beat the hearts of many people. So, as the host has said, we should keep updating ourselves and our knowledge and skills. That's why we're doing the series of training programs. And today we have got the right person to inaugurate the session. He is moving with people, feeling their pulses and sharing their aspirations. Mr. Anil, Secretary to the Grama Kurichy, is a very apt person for today's program. Sir, I cordially welcome you on behalf of the Raja schools, the dignitaries, and all the teachers. Our chairman really did want to attend the session today, but an unexpected and urgent meeting here were the key pointers. But Professor Subramanian Rajas is attending our meeting today as chairman's representative. Rajas served for the last 21 years, rendering his selfless service. Sir, I cordially welcome you. So happy to welcome our Kurichy sir to this gathering. TRIS is his child. I asked him what he christened this program TRIS. He told me he considers all the teachers as pearls. They are rare gems. Thank you, sir. Hearty welcome. Half done. When we started TRIS, luckily we got the very right person. Miss Rita Prasad, I have great pleasure to extend a hearty welcome to Madam. Madam is a good academician with proven track of record. Single-handedly, she grew a school to one which has resulted to great fame in Bokaro. Now she is the Chief Academic Officer of the People's Assembly School, Bokaro. She was bestowed with many countless awards, including the Best Teacher Award of Jharkhand. Besides being an eloquent speaker, she is a doer. She believes in doing things. Madam, welcome to our festival.
Thank you.
On behalf of everyone present here, I extend a warm welcome to you. Respected principals, Ms. Aravi and Mr. Tito, your presence really priceless for this meeting. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you. Dear teachers, this is our program. Let us teach. I welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for extending a warm welcome. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Anil Pearl TRIS. Sir, please.
Anil sir.
Sir, I think he's not in the now. Maybe
Network problem, I believe. Let us wait for 1 minute.
sure. Sir. Hello. Yes, sir.
Sir, please. Anil sir.
Good evening, everybody. Esteemed teachers. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Esteemed teachers. Rajas International School has an excellent legacy and tradition in the education field. So I am very glad to participate and inaugurate this. Because of COVID-19, we could not get together in a hall to discuss to education and the new changes that would come in the coming day in the education field. It is the only platform that we can use in this time is this type of meeting. Of all the hard jobs around, one of the hardest is being a good teacher. We are all familiar with the old saying, medical teacher tells. The good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and great teacher inspires. Teachers should be motivated and role models to today's children. Children requires more motivational than critic. Your words can positively influence, transform their lives. Nobel Prize winner Malala Yousafzai once said, one child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. As a good teacher, you can change the world and develop the future of India. I wish you all the very best for the motivational training program. I am delighted to be present here today and to inaugurate this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your valuable words, and we appreciate you taking off your busy schedules to join us today to inaugurate this session. Thank you very much. Now, Subramaniam for felicitation. Please, sir.
Okay, let us switch over to Sloan. Carry on.
Okay. Now, without further delay, we will turn the time over to our honorable guest, Ms. Rita Prasad. Over to you, madam.
Thank you very much, madam. I hope I'm audible. And,
yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank our CEO, sir, Mr. Kuriakos, who gave me this opportunity and has invited me. Especially good evening, all the dignitaries, all the great educators and teachers present today in this meeting. I'm really very happy to join all and to share some of my
Ma'am, you're not audible. Ma'am, you're not audible.
Not audible. Okay, there's a network problem today. It's getting
now it's fine.
Ma'am, I think Rita ma'am left me. Join again.
Actually, there's network problem. Yes, severe network problem. So I may be going off and on, and I'll refresh and join in again. So we have to be patient with this problem. Anyway, I just want to once again thank all of you who are present here this evening. And I'm sure that we will all share and learn something. And I hope I will be able to get across some things to you what I have experienced. As I was sharing, I would like to start with the very first quotation by Albert Einstein, which says, "It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge." Okay, it is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge by Albert Einstein. In the recent, we have heard a lot of things on creativity, art integrated education, skill. So many new words, and I mean words that were existing, but so many new emphasis in the education and the pattern of education. And while I speak to you, I'll be looking at three things very important. Every time I will be referring to three parts of our body: the head, the hand, and the heart. Go back. Go back. Yes, coming back to the first slide, it is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy. You know, that every time we remind him to give a full experience to the students. So where does this joy come from? It's, a child is joyful in the heart. The creative expression to create something is the hand, and the knowledge is your head. So throughout when I speak, I'll be emphasizing on these three words every time to try to link with what we have to teach our children. Next slide. Always as teachers, we always go back saying, let's go and check our previous knowledge. So going back to the previous basic things of education, I always like to remind my teachers the four pillars of education. Education cannot stand if these four pillars are not there in the four corners. Number one, learning to know, which is your head; learning to do, which is your hand; learning to live together, head and hand; and learning to be is head, hand, and heart. Have you observed the progress that how we have been moving forward? If you look back, before we only used to emphasize on head knowledge, just that the child, how much knowledge we can pour into the child. Gradually the syllabus changed, emphasis changed from learning to know to learn to do. So they began to realize we have to give them some kind of practical experience. And so there came the word hands-on experience. But then we see, no, it's not enough for a child only to individually do something. The child also has to get into the habit of getting along with others and doing something. So learning to live together, that is where idea of project came in, and then we see the emphasis where it has been that children should get together and do a project and not as an individual person, because there are many skills that they grow and work together. But if you look today, where we are, people have in the education system began to realize that it is not enough to know, not enough to do, not enough to be together, but we need to be, learning to be, that which involves your head, hand, and heart. So we are now coming to that emphasis that you can give a joyful experience to the child when not only by filling in knowledge, not only making them do, but giving them an experience which will be a learning process, will be filled with joy. Coming on to the next slide, the 21st century skills. I like to emphasize here, I like these alphabets very much, 3H. It's like you tell the children, learn your tables, learn your tables. I say every time I tell my teachers, I need to see you using your head, hand, and your heart, the 3H. Because we need to give a joyful experience to the children. So coming back, in the present change or the new things that have come up in CBSE in the curriculum and the emphasis in the education pattern, we began to realize only knowledge is not enough, but we need skill. And so what are the skills that have been emphasized? The three skills are learning skill, literacy skill, and life skill. Now, under learning skill, we also have the 4 C's, which is very important. I've just made simple, sort of points so that we can remember when we come to art integration, we will understand where are we going to use our head, where are we going to use our hand, and where are we going to use our heart. What are the children going to learn in the learning skill? So, in the learning skill, we are going to emphasize on critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. I know you know all of these things, but I am here just to share with you that how does it, today in this information boomerang, just stop the slide. This information boomerang, we have so much of information coming in, we have to think, how can my teacher in a 40 minutes period implement all the skills and implement all that she's learning through the seminars and the webinars? So I'm just trying to share my experience where I've helped my teachers to think on these lines and try to incorporate all they've learned. It's so nice. You'll have many people much more, experienced than me, lot of information on the internet and lot of material which you can read for yourself. But my purpose here, being here today, is to just touch on those points. How can we be practically implement things? Bring a joyful experience to children. How can we read practically? What is the thing that I can do with my hand? What is the thing? I know knowledge part is there in the textbook. You have to follow so rigid, and we bring in information, but that's not all. But if I remember those three things, did I make a lesson plan using my head, my hand, and my heart? We have to think that at every step you will see, if you leave out the heart, which is the life skill, is mainly concerned there. That's where the focus is coming. Today you want your children to be educated and come out of your schools, go and find jobs. We have to think of the soft skills, not just the hard skills. The soft skills, the leadership, the communication skill, the skill of getting along with people. And so in our entire everyday process of teaching and educating children, we have to see and emphasize, get hold of these 3 H's that I always will be referring. Coming back to the next slide, so that it will be clear to you. Okay, let's.
Excuse me. It's
Yes.
okay, correct. Thank you.
Are you okay? Okay.
It's okay now. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Roses are red, violets are blue. What gives flower these eye-catching hues? I put it up there for you. If you're a history teacher, and if this was given to you, how would you inspire children to think in terms of history? If you're a science teacher, what project or what thinking, critical thinking, you can make children do something. What would you want them to bring out when you read as a science teacher? As a drawing teacher, maybe you will be able to think, what can I make them do? Can I make them draw roses? Can I make them draw violets? And so every subject teacher can think something, or we can ask children to do different things in different subjects. See, we have to learn to bring things. I every time look at my teachers, they're doing so many seminars, so many webinars, so many training programs, capacity building programs, and I wonder, is the capacity really being built up in the classroom? That's where you go and meet your students every day. So I just put this question here so that everyone will start thinking in their own subject area. If I gave this as a project or just as a question to the children and said, okay, children, your geography, I want you to do this. Find out what kind of climate is needed, which state grows the most of the roses or violets, where in India, what is happening. Okay, what do you know about roses? Somebody in history, where did it all begin, the history of roses? You can go on and on, integrating everything. Maybe one person cannot do all, but when different subject teachers assign to different students in a different manner, so much of input you will get. And this is where the education is changing. We have to be creative expression. We have to go prepared with some creative things in our classroom. And that's what, if you see throughout in whatever material you read, are you or are teachers, are we able to really make the children feel joyful to learn in our classroom? I think we have to be learners first. We have to learn. When I put this, I started looking at the history of roses and how during the Mughal period, the roses came. And the emperor, he named his on the basis of different roses. I got to know so many things. Curiosity is. So, but you are the one as teacher to take something new into your classroom. We are so stereotyped sometimes. We stick to things what we have been doing over ages. We can talk a lot, but what are we doing? Pardon me, I am counting myself also a teacher, and I remind myself that I must be doing something creative all the time to give a joyful experience, not only to my students, but to my teachers too. Okay, get on to the next slide. I think that was just an introduction to make you think. Don't forget my 3 body parts that we're going to use: our head, our hand, and our heart. Look, what is art? We're talking about art integrated pedagogy. Our life is surrounded by art. Today, whether it's cooking, whether it's putting a front room, drawing room, setting up a drawing room, whether it's designing, whether it is your curtains in your room, everything has an art. No one's home looks the same. Everyone has it within them, around them. So art is the conscious use of skill and creative imagination. Even sometimes I know all mothers who are sitting here, you will realize that many leftovers in the refrigerator, you will think very creatively. Nobody's going to eat that. Let's do something very creative. You might mash up all the vegetables and make a nice vegetable cutlet and put it in front on the table. Everybody relishes it. Creativity, your imagination, the conscious use of your skill. Skill is there, but it has to come up and you have to use it. So art is an essential ingredient to empower the hearts of people. Wow. Again, I come to the word heart. Heart is so important. If you have not touched the heart of the child cannot experience joy. Art, and you have it. I tell in my school, I tell my teachers, there is no Xerox copy of anybody. Everybody is unique. Everyone has got unique creativity and potential. But it is our effort. It is when we start thinking of the child, when we start thinking that, am I giving a joyful experience to child? We will start using all our skills, our creativity, our art, whatever sense of art we have, then we will start using it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Art integrated pedagogy, the style of using art in your teaching process. Art as a subject and art integrated learning. Art as a tool. We have to understand these two are 2 different things. Art as a subject, yes, visual art, you have line, shape, color, texture, face, painting. And performing art, you have music, dance, theater, film, simple acting, storytelling. We have certain... Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay, so I got somewhere. Okay, so looking at art education, schools are using art education as a subject. Yeah, we teach them drawing, we teach them dance, we teach them music, we train them in different areas. Okay, but when we are teaching, art integrated learning is using art as a tool. Art integrated projects. This is where we are coming to it. How will you use art in your teaching learning process? Very important. Now, the children have various experiences. Today, with all the information and with internet facilities, I think sometimes I dread to go to the classroom because children know more than us. We are not prepared to meet their needs. We're not enough knowing. We need to read. We need to understand. And we need to take in more for our food. Coming on to the next slide. Art is also an experience. And these terms are repeatedly being used in the current changes in the curriculum that teachers need to give. What is experiential learning? We have to give them an experience. Yeah. Experience of what? You are teaching them knowledge with the hand. They have to do something, and you teach them the skill and the experience of doing something. So experiential learning is not telling them what to do. Experiential learning is the method of educating through first-hand experience rather than learning through someone else's experience in the textbook or lecture. Yeah. We must give children problems where they will be able to solve, something that they will be able to find. As I told you initially, I put a statement. I don't know everything about the roses. I didn't know the history. Neither do I know the geography. Yes, I know as a biology teacher, I know about the different petals and the parts of a flower when my teacher was teaching. But when we give the children a project, that's why I said art integrated learning, where art becomes a tool. Where the children will go and get a first-hand experience and out. You may take them to visit a rose garden. Maybe if you're in Bangalore, you can take them to a garden and maybe they can see the various types of roses. They will do their own research and find out and have a new experience and a new idea. Experiences can only bring joy. Only knowing cannot bring joy. But look at the things. When you give a project to the child, when you always planning your lesson centered around these three words, okay, I know what I'm going to teach and what I will be my facts of the lesson. So that is their head. They're going to use their head and you're using in the classroom. But then you're also thinking, what is it related to my lesson that I'll make them do with their hands? That's so important. So there comes an experience of creating something, doing the project, working it as a team, finding out things. And in the bargain, where we are talking about the change that is coming, the skills that they will develop, because you have taken a totally different mode in teaching the children, giving an experience. What happens is that they will begin to understand and they will learn, they will collaborate with one another. They will value what they are discovering themselves, and they feel that it is not what you told them, but what they have discovered for themselves. So, for example, I'm a biology teacher there. When we are integrating art in our lessons, using it as a tool. Now there are lots of digital tools that you can use on your internet, on your computers. But looking at just a simple leaf and observation, shape, size, and color, I began to wonder, why do we always tell children have to paint the leaf green? There are red leaves, maroon color, spotted leaves, yellow leaves, white leaves, but never, I think, we allow children to ask this question, Miss, what pigment is there in the leaf which is red? I don't think we encourage or we have ever created that situation for the children. This is where it has to change. The curiosity of the child. So when we integrate art, we take the children out and say, okay, look at the shape, divide them into groups, tell them go and find out, what did you discover? Were all the leaves green? No, miss, I found out some maroon color leaves. Well, so they bring their whatever they find. So they discover there are non-green leaves, there are variegated leaves, leaves which are spotted. Then they begin to ask you the question, how do non-green leaves prepare their food? We go to class and teach photosynthesis, we teach the formula, we make them draw diagrams as given in the book. No, but when we integrate our subjects, when we take the children out, when we give them an experience, they're curious, they begin to ask questions, and we have to be prepared to answer those questions. So the other day I was also talking about them. So then one of the teacher, when I gave this example, he said, what about the maroon leaf? What happens to the pigment? They don't have green chlorophyll, then how does it prepare food? So I walked into the garden, picked out a croton leaf which was maroon in color. I just broke it and I found that there was green color below the maroon pigment. That means when leaves are colored, they have the more than the green pigment. So that was something. So similarly, when children go out and they find out these things, we are giving them an experience. So that is what I began to wonder as a teacher. But why we do not give children, allow them to color yellow or red. We are always so rigid in our thinking because we want them to learn our experience. No, I think experiential learning is give them the first-hand experience, and maybe we experience also and we learn because of the children's curiosity. So looking at, just putting as example, measuring surface area of the leaf, maths teacher will say, take out a graph paper, draw the outline of the leaf, measure the leaf and tell me the area of the leaf. The chemistry teacher will say, simple chromatography experiment, find out what all colors are there in this leaf, observing natural colors of pigments in leaves and plants. So you see, It is not confined to a textbook. No textbook gives you all the information together. Everywhere around these days you find books are cut, copy, paste in paragraphs. Sometimes there's no continuity. But you and I, we are the teachers who have to be resourceful people. And I won't use the word teacher. We are educators. We need to educate ourselves and educate others, our children too. So we must have more knowledge other than what is in the textbook. And so we need to give them, then only we are able to give them an experiential learning, which is a part of the art integrated learning and which is a tool. And if you want to include art as a subject, you can use them, ask them to draw various kind of things, draw sceneries or blend things. You know, this morning I was so happy to receive a quote which said, "The coffee never knew that it was so important till it met sugar and milk," right? Many of us as individuals, we don't know our value, but when we blend together, we really give the taste. So that is why, that is what we are trying in this art integrated pedagogy, trying to bring our experiential learning in, trying to bring art as a subject. If you want, okay, after you've taught a lesson and say, okay, why don't you, do a dance on season where the different kinds of plants and trees, how they go. So they can either compose a poem, either they can do a choreography, they can do movements. So many things can be integrated in a lesson, but it needs a lot of thinking, not only critical thinking on the part of the student, but also the teacher. Okay, so now, just let me get back. No, then space the people. Okay, let me. Yeah, so I like to come back to you and just see your faces. And so, many people think that art education should be all drawing and coloring and painting. No, it's your entire experience of being a teacher. And always keep this in mind. How can I give the child a joyful experience? And which part is that? That's your heart. Your heart has to blend with the child's heart. I know you go prepared with your lesson plan. We all are so, particular about it, see that everything is followed. But are we giving an experience to our children? And we need to do that. So, in a nutshell, what I can see is that the present education pattern is to incorporate and integrate, blend it together, all your experiences related to your lesson, because you can't go offbeat. You have to follow your track. You have to be focused and be very systematic and organized, but keeping these three things in mind, And as I told you, the pillars of education, others the roof will fall. The education roof will fall if you don't have, if your knowledge, you have done nothing with the hands, there's no experience, there's no learning to do. If you have not given them a group activity, there's no communication, collaboration among them, they're not learning to be. So this is mine and that is mine, but they need to get along with one another. And if they're not really being able to, understand each other's feeling, blend together, experience the joy of contributing together. Today, what is the world outside? Working as a team. When they go for jobs, they have to be in a group, they have to be a team leader, they have to communicate well. These are the skills that will develop when we give them an experiential learning, as well as when we integrate art along with them. So art is not just drawing, but art integrated learning is a tool where we can use our all potential and abilities, your own experience. I don't think two teachers have the same experience. Because we are unique. We are not the same. Have you found anyone doing the same as you are doing? No, I don't think so. No Xerox copies anywhere. Okay, let's get on to the next slide. And I think I'll just get on to the next slide, which will help you. Okay, come, let's go. Next. Yes, okay. Impact of art education. Investigation and exploration, experiential learning, development of life skills, able to see the multidisciplinary link. Students are busy and engaged, better understanding and retention. When you give them a joyful experience, I don't think they ever forget the lesson. And all these things happen Because when a teacher, when you and I, we put to think, how can I integrate? How can I give a joyful experience? What will I make them do with their hands? Not only just teach the facts, the things that are involved in it. How will I relate to everyday life? What things I can do with them? You see, these things develop. So they begin to ask you questions. They begin to explore. They find out things and they come up with curiosity to you. Maybe sometimes you may not be able to answer at that moment, but you begin to dig and find out. Or maybe you have a website where you can tell them, go and explore, and you bring your, your report tomorrow in class and share. Experiential learning, take a feedback from what they feel. It's a lot of talking with the students and involving our own head, hand, and heart. I think that's the key thing where the whole education system, people are worried that we want to make education a joyful experience. Oh, children say, I'm so stressed out. There's so much. No, but if we teachers, see, finally, when we see all the competitive exams, they are mainly based on the entire syllabus that is from class 6 onwards, the same things which are being repetitively done, and the clarity of concept. It's amazing when at one time in CBSE, when, CBSE, I remember the academic Sir Balasubramanian gave an example. He said a child in his home, his aunt's son came running. The milkman has come. He brings a saucepan and a saucepan. He was already an engineer. Yeah, they don't have a blending or a practical experience. You ask the children the length of your mother's sari, they will tell you all the length and breadth of things in the classroom in their maths class, but they will say it is 4 feet or 4 meters. They have no kind of relation with everyday life because we don't talk it that. So it's so important to give them an experience. A child wrote in the essay, I've lost my briefcase, which is 10 centimeters long and 5 centimeters wide. He's been learning feet, centimeters, meters, kilometers, whatnot, all the units of length and measurement, but he's unable to express it, cannot relate. And that is what, we are mainly concerned. And what education, where we are trying to lay our emphasis is we have to give them an experience of everything, related to everyday things. There are lots of things around us. I know when I started as a teacher, what was very important, bring a teaching aid to the class and teach them, right? No, you have the freedom now to teach them as well as you can. Integrate your subjects, There's so much to learn from different subjects. There's so much to learn from art, from drawing. Appreciate that. And what has been happening in the past, if a child can dance, you're good for nothing, you can't remember this formula, you can't do. No, maybe through that dancing skill, the child can remember some steps, some formula. You can formulate it. I don't know, the child can formulate for you. So there are so many things that can happen when we integrate art and different ways. So development of life skills. When you take a group of children outside, you can see the way they talk. Somebody is saying, no, do this. When you give them a project, their ideas they share, they get along with one another. And they're able to sort of bring their ideas together and put their ideas down on paper, put the project well, and then you feel that there are so many things that they learn. That's necessary for life skill. Today with nuclear family, children are all by themselves. I think in my parents' days, they had larger families and all brothers, sisters grew up together, so they were able to share and give. Now everything is given. If you are one child, then that child gets everything. But these kind of things, or this kind of project learning, integration, helps the children to share and learn in a better way. So somebody can learn, find out from history, geography, as I told you, different subjects. You give them a task and they will bring better work into your classroom. So able to see the multidisciplinary link, then they're able to see when you're teaching a lesson, okay, when I'm talking about pigments, I can see that's in chemistry. I can talk, my drawing teacher can also talk, see these are the primary colors. These are why this color is not being seen, why this color. The physics teacher will say the range of colors. So many things get integrated. So children begin to see the multidisciplinary link. Students are busy and engaged. Yeah, we want to sit straight, look to us and sit down. I know with technology now, they're all blue computer or to the mobile trying to grasp their lessons. But when we give them a project, when we give them, or when we integrate some lessons, when we give them assignments which are of such kind, they will be busy and they'll be engaged in their work. A better understanding and retention. You don't have to tell them memorize this and come. They will be so happy to do it. They will understand better. If you put that same child in front of the class, you'll be surprised the way the child will explain. Pure teaching, you will see the child will explain in a better manner because the child has drawn so many experiences on his own or her own. Let's go on to the next slide. In every school, lesson plan is as a matter of we as an educator, we can read a lot, you can listen to me a lot, but you'll say, ma'am, where is the time in a 45 minutes period or 1 hour maximum? How do I do all these things? How do I incorporate all these things into my lesson? Yeah, that is something which we need to really think about. I always ask my teachers and I say, what did you implement from the last seminar you learned? Did you learn something? Did you implement something in your class? Yeah, we are finding the restraint of time. But yet, nevertheless, again, I get back to my 3 things, 3 parts of the body, your head, hand, and heart. Always keep that skeleton up there and say, did I do something? Think about the topic, the unit of study, your content, vocabulary, and concept. So how am I going to integrate art form? Brainstorm the art form that can work in your lesson. See, I'll come back to the lesson plan later. So which art form are you going to use? A visual piece of art? Maybe to start my lesson, I can have a visual piece of art which may have me showing something which is related to my lesson. That could be creative, illustration, diagram, 3-dimensional graph, flowchart. Performing art, maybe bring a music, or can a song be composed or compared on the content? Can the concept be choreographed or just simple? You have to start thinking, am I going to use visual art? Any of these? Drama and skit, role play? It could be a combination of all or extend the experiences. Next. Now I come to what CBSE has emphasized on. Our lesson plan has this acronym which is ENGAGE. Look for the appropriate step where the art activity can be incorporated into your lesson plan format. So this is your lesson plan. The first is energize. What is it that I will start my lesson with? Okay, which will make the children amazed at what I'm going to say at my lesson today. So you have to bring the previous experience or something new to your class, a new information to your class, where the children will get energized and they will sit up straight in your class and say, okay, what is this teacher telling me about? What this has got to do with today's lesson? They start guessing your lesson. So something to energize them, not that they are sitting sloppily on the, I know now they're not come to the classroom. I really miss them in the school because they're not there in your classroom. I'm sure you miss them too. The next part is navigate, which says that's the part where the key role of the teacher delivers a lesson, prepares a lesson, the concept, whatever you have to teach for that day. That is your main key role because you have to take the lesson forward. The third step is generate. After I've taught the lesson, what can the children generate out of what I have taught? Will I give such a kind of question? Will I, that's why I said you have to start thinking, I have to integrate something. Okay, I put everything into their head now. What will they do with their hand? Can they generate something? Can they make a model? Can they make a poster? So what will they do with their hands? That you have to plan prior. So if you, okay, I put it in your head, now they're going to do something. Children, I want you to do something with your hands. So you maybe plan an activity or maybe an experiment you give them to do in class and they draw the conclusion, they learn it better. And so that part is your generate. So if you go stepwise, so you see you've done the head part, you've done the hand part, apply. How will you use what you learned today in the classroom? So maybe it could be a group discussion, and you may ask them to do some project at home or find out. Gauge is to assess, were you successful? Okay, and were you successful in imparting your lesson? Are there some drawbacks? You can assess them through a small, asking objective questions maybe. You know, a very good way. Sometimes I tell teachers to make questions. They say, oh, so many questions we have to make. You give the children a chance. You say, out of all that I taught, you keep making objective questions while I'm teaching. Make note of it. Give responsibility to 4 kids to come out at the end of the lesson. Okay, why don't you ask a question? It could be a review class. It could be how they have applied their understanding, and they will frame such good questions for you and me. So that is to apply and then you gauge and assess how you have taught. Evaluate is the process. So you're done with your head, you're done with your head. Evaluate now the feeling. Okay, take a feedback from your children. Not only just to evaluate and give them marks. Children, did you really enjoy? Which was the most exciting moment in my today's teaching? You also need to go back satisfied after you've taught your class. You also want to see the smiles of your children that, yes, miss, we enjoyed this part of your lesson. So you get a feedback. So evaluation is not only assessing the children in terms of marks or grades or telling them you are this and you're that, but giving them an opportunity to share. So that's a group discussion or maybe an individual giving a remark or a report, and you get the feedback session. So then what happens is everyone gets to listen to one another's feeling about the class. They may even tell you that maybe you could ask that question if they needed more clarity somewhere. So it's a communication part that is happening, and we need to organize our lesson plan under this acronym that is ENGAGE. So art education, which I know these terms are there. You know, when we do a seminar on experiential, people say, okay, we need a day to do experiential learning. Okay, we need a day to do art education. No, but what I feel is, out of all what you learn, what is it that you can take it back to your classroom in that 40 minutes period, 45 minutes or maximum 1 hour period? How will you apply all that you are learning and giving the children a new experience to learning? So that is something how you can integrate art education. Okay, let's go to the next please. I need to quickly rush. So the present need of the hour is to change how we work so that the students develop in their level of competency. That's again the 3 C's: competency, knowledge and skill. Capability, a feature that can be developed. Capacity, the power to hold, receive and accommodate. So we have to take, why are we there as guides, as educators? Yes, we are giving knowledge. We're giving them, we have to see that what skill is being developed in them, maybe communication skill, leadership skill, management, time management skill. There are so many skills that develop when we start integrating and collaborating with one another and working together. Capability, a feature that can be developed, and capacity, the power to hold, receive and accommodate. 21st century educators, we are all in this 21st century. The characteristics, we have to be an adapter. Adapt and teach the curriculum in an imaginative manner. We have to be creative people. Communicator, fluent in tool and technologies. Yes. Oh, there are so many tools you can use from on the internet and expose the children to them. I can see all the apps that are put in our CBSE website, the Diksha app. You know, you don't have to do everything, but if you expose them to those things, giving them as a task or assignment, they will go and get more fluent using those tools. Learner, constantly upgrading ourselves, right? We need to constantly keep learning. Be a visionary leader, able to lead, inspire, motivate to excellence. The model, the role model for their students. Collaborator, collaborate by working cooperatively with peers or students. Risk taker, willing to take risks and try new techniques, pedagogy and technology. The pandemic has forced us to be resourceful and abandon our comfortable routines. So at the end, weave art into everything, integrate art into reflect more. Until and unless we read, today's readers are tomorrow's leaders. So we have to encourage our children to read. Unfortunately, our children don't want to read. This is a very big drawback which I have experienced. They want teacher to read and explain everything. They want teacher to tell everything in a capsulated form. They don't want to read long paragraphs. Tell me the gist. And we in the past have been doing that according to the need of the curriculum, the board pattern examination, just, trying to figure out things which can be very simplified. But I don't think we as the new educators of this 21st century, we need to read more ourselves and help the children to read more. So do more. That's why I said read more your head, do more with your hand, and reflect more with your heart. Is it a joyful experience or not? I'm sure we all enjoy being a teacher, and that's why we are here this evening. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and being so patient to listen to what I shared this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for giving clarity on this relevant topic, art integration.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's time for questions. Og says, take the attitude of a student. Never be too big to ask questions. Never know too much to learn something new. Now, questions and opinions are invited. Please. It's your time to clear your name.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening.
Ma'am, thank you very much. Especially around 3 months before only, I heard the word art integrated learning for CBSE curriculum.
Yeah.
When I heard that word, suddenly one thought came to my mind. Maybe most of the teachers, maybe not most, maybe 20 or 30% like me, maybe thinking like that. Art is a subject. You started with that. Art is a subject.
Yes.
Art integrated learning means the subject integrated learning, like that. We may think.
Yes.
Today really I got, I think most of the teachers, I got a clear picture about
Art as a tool.
what intended for this art integrated learning. A clear picture, very clear picture about that. I got. I'm now clear about that. You presented systematically, starting with the doubt in my mind, clarified first, art is a subject, same time, integrating that subject in different,
Yes.
the one thing more in my mind, when we were explaining that slide, rose colors and that two flowers and rose when you explained. Suddenly one thing came into my mind. I'm a business studies teacher. How can we integrate this, a leaf or anything? Suddenly a key leaf came to my mind. Leaf to the students. I can explain, I can go at any extent with this tea leaf.
Yes, that's right.
I think here when you shared only that idea came to my mind.
Yes.
Mean tea leaf is a raw material. And to process, what is the process? That what type of process is it, line or flow? What production I can integrate there, and how many workers needed? Productivity, efficiency of productivity, how it should be effective, how this tea leaf can be made into powder very fast or into green tea very fast. This so many technology and all this area is coming into my mind. I can use this leaf to teach my subject. That means we can integrate any object. You helped me to understand that. Thank you very much. We can integrate any object to any subject.
Yes, thank you, sir. I think
Only as a teacher, I should think creatively.
that's
And
right.
I should prepare my students to think creatively.
I
And
think yes. Our
I should
lesson
do
plan, as I told you, you have to be creative. It has to start in your own head before you put it in children's head, right? It begins with us.
no, I should avoid one concept that students, teacher-centered lessons should be changed to student-centered lesson.
Yes.
That
Right.
is a 100% implementation. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this effective section.
Thank you.
Teachers, if anybody has any doubt on this topic, please clear it now.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Geeta from the Rajas International School. We
Nice to
are happy to hear to you. And our principal already, taught us so many things like art integrated and English method. She'll be, keeping more motivation will be given by her also. And today's session was really, it's wonderful session. And the presentation was very clear. The PPT you have presented, the pictures, the content in that, it was so, informative. And thank you so much for the wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just try to make it simple because you have lot of information, right?
Dear teachers, it's a brainstorming session. You just storm your brain.
I know you all know all these things, but I only try to bring the practical aspect, how you can use in that little time your brains creatively and how creatively you can take up your lessons in the class. I know you all have your own techniques and your unique qualities. No one is like someone else. So I always tell teachers, no Xerox copy. So you must be having a unique potential to do things. So enjoy your work. And I only say these things. That's how I plan my lesson whenever I taught. What am I going to share, from my head? What am I going to make them do with their hands, and how will they feel at the end of my lesson? So head, hand, and heart, which is very important for me, and the 4 pillars. Yeah.
Teachers, if anybody wants to ask anything, please ask.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you
Yes.
so much. I'm Minnie George from Rajas International School, Kurichy. I started when I heard this topic. I started my teaching with the students integrated with arts. I searched in the net and I found something. Then I could get a lot of information and I tried in some of the classes, not every class. But now I will try to do what ma'am said, and your speech was, your talk was very much inspiring and very good, and it was motivating to me. And we will try to follow those things, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We had good time together. Now I cordially invite Ms. Malaviri, the principal of the Rajas International School, Nagarkoil, to propose vote of thanks. Please, ma'am.
No, it's not going to take a lot of time. Just few words from my heart. Good evening, everybody. Gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. And if we fail to show out the gratitude, because we have learned a lot. Every day is a day we do not pass without learning. So we learn something when our eyes are open, when our ears are open, when our heart is open, when our hand is open.
Very true.
So the word heart, hand, and head, it's lingering in my mind actually.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, I'm taking those three words from you, ma'am. Actually, to formally start with this vote of thanks, I really thank the God Almighty, who has given this platform to know something. The COVID season, though it is a pandemic and everybody locked inside, it is really teaching us young number of things. So I take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God. Yes, because games are really amazing, astonishing. We can't understand what is games are. My thanks to that Almighty God. Next, it is the speaker. I should come to the speaker because you have made the day. The whole day you are sitting, breaking our head as a principal with so many targets, and to sit and hear what is art integrated. I might have shared many things with my teachers, or I might have led them towards an engage method, competency based, but still I have not touched in an elaborate way what is art integrated lesson plans and things like that. No, I'm in the preparation of finding a time, and at the right time, basically I got a time with Mrs. Rita Prasad, the academician, and the wonderful thought, the time amidst your busy schedule. It's a service actually, imparting education, imparting knowledge. Your experience will definitely make us learn. You will speak from your experience. So just holding our hands, we have to receive the knowledge that you have got in your experience. This is the word I can tell, because kattathu kaiman alavu kalladadu ulaga alavu. So this I believe strongly. So this experience that you have given, ma'am, it's tremendous. And as we all believe, art when it is integrated, it gives happiness, and it is well said. And it is actually the second wave that it is striking my head. I should put more effort into the words in a second wave. These are all pandemic language.
Yes, yes.
So, the second wave that has struck me today is I should take seriously this art integrated. We are talking about pedagogy, we are talking about engage method, the competency based skill, talent, and knowledge. We actually art integrate. And I promise principal, I will lead my teaching as per today's guidance that I got from you. And I thank you, dear ma'am, that this learning that you have given us, it will spark in everybody's mind, definitely. And this spark is going to encompass the student community, because the students are really missing out the art, the cultural linkage in that. They are very stressed with mark and things like that. But this art is going to bring them the happiness back. As in olden days, what we enjoyed will be coming back. There is hope in education. So today's session really did plenty. The creating a spark is wonderful, and you have created the spark. Thank you, dear ma'am, and I value every word that you have showered today. The three C's: competency, capability, capacity, and finally you touched with read more, do more, and reflect more. The characteristic of the 21st century educators, it was really fabulous, being an adapter, a communicator, a leader, visionary leader, model, collaborator, and so on. It was really, I was just jotting it down, everything. So tonight, definitely, I should not tell we are going to reflect on what you have said and take it with our students. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, I say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have Dean sir here. I always learn the dedication from him. When I see him, his simplicity and his dedication always linger in my mind. Sir, your presence is very good. You are valuable. Your experience, your age is there for us to lead us. Thank you for the presence. Next, the Rajas International School, Kottayam. The elderly people, I really respect them all, because your words will be, something which is very precious. No, so your presence, your guidance, your heading, it's really valuable, and I thank you for being with us. As a moral support. Thank you for the presence. Next, I should thank the secretary to the. I should thank the secretary, Mr. Anand, who is present here. Sir, this time is very valuable for you, because plenty of work. You're, a part of. I should not tell politician, but the work that you have been assigned is not much related with education. Sorry for telling this, but that shows your interest. And I take this opportunity, to thank you, to inaugurate the function. I'm really thankful, and from out of the heart, I thank you. Next, it's my privilege, and I'm really proud to find all principals. There are 3-4 principals here, and we know that we have great, tremendous responsibility to carry what we have learned here from Mrs. Rita Prasad. It's very valuable. So, we can't push anything out away from our way, because we are going to put the seeding inside the teacher's mind, because professional development is going to lift the student community. Instead of lifting up the student, it will be better and the best to lift the professional development, to bring up, give a transformation with the teacher community. And this responsibility lies in our hand. And as a principal today, I take this as my, I have taken this as my pledge to educate the educators first. Automatically, the school, the student community will flourish. Value integrated, art integrated, the skill-based learning. These things, how to bring up is a question with the teachers. So the amount of trainings that they take, this is one among the trainings that teachers are taking up. So so I'm talking about our responsibility, the principal's responsibility, the head educator's responsibility. I think we have to stand together, and learn and give learning and take learning. As a team, we have come together. I'm really happy about it. May God bless our service. God's is more enough. Then next, I take this opportunity. The principal of the Rajas International School, Kottayam, who gave me the agenda, and I'm really happy that you have taken us with you, and I thank for these things. Last but not the least, the teachers, the educators, the facilitators, you're right in front of us. It is in your hands. I can't do, but we can do. So teachers, whatever you have learned today, it is really very precious. when it is going to be polished more, when we educators carry this inside the classroom. So when Madam Rita Prasad was talking about the engage method, I had a question. Should it be 1 week planning or per period planning? Because we follow period planning, which may be a hectic one for all the teachers. You know, every week engage, every period 40 minutes if you're going to plan. It is going to be a hectic one, but who is going to tell the cat? It is the teachers, we educators. How are we going to change the society? How? It is in our hands, the educators. So only the educators and the parents can bring forth a better world, which is all jam-packed with negativations, falsehood, attention. So those days it is not like that. So I request all the teachers to take up whatever our precious speaker, beloved speaker, Mrs. Rita Prasad, has communicated with us into the classrooms. It is not, it couldn't get stopped here. It should get into the brain. So I thank all these educators, facilitators, who are the strength of all the schools and the students. Thank you for your very valuable time that you have spent with us. I hope that I have thanked everybody. If I had missed, I'm really sorry. For all the well wishers from the bottom of the heart, I thank and conclude my vote of thanks. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very